Von Kennel. Almost.
Yeah.
He's a 15-year-old boy who, as a child, was brought up in a Chinese household. Today, he's going to share with you his childhood experiences and going to teach you how to properly use chopsticks.
I need this training.
Now, I'd first like to start off by saying, yes, although chopsticks may look difficult to use, it's nowhere near as difficult as what Kush just did. So, don't fear, I got this covered. Okay, so before I go into the actual usage of chopsticks, I need to tell you different types of chopsticks that people use. The most common chopsticks used in China, or was in China, are the classic bamboo chopsticks. It's chopsticks made of, you would guess, bamboo. There's also plastic chopsticks. There are metal chopsticks for durability. However, I don't like these because it's impossible to grab stuff because it's way too slippery. There's the disposable wooden chopsticks and the very fancy wooden chopsticks. Depending on how much you value your chopstick will depend on how much money you'd be willing to spend on them. Okay. So when you start a meal, your chopsticks, I'll be using the bamboo ones, always start on your right side, almost the direction of which you would put your knife. Now, when you pick up your chopstick, before you go to eat, you need to know how to hold it properly. The way I think about it is, you hold the chopsticks just as you would hold a fork. You take your first pencil. You take the first chopstick and hold it exactly like a pencil. You would use your thumb to stabilize it along with your pointing finger and rest it on your middle finger. The second chopstick is going to be very similar to the first chopstick except underneath your middle finger and held by your ring finger. And in order to open and close it, you would just open and close the gap between your ring finger and your middle finger, like this. Okay, so now that you know how to use your chopsticks, you can get right to eating. So there are two main methods you use when eating a classic Chinese meal. One of them is just simply grabbing your food like this, putting it in your mouth. And this is normally acceptable with a lot of the non-rice meals such as your vegetables, your chicken, your meats in general. And for the rice, it's not really that common to pick up your rice and eat because it just falls apart when you try to pick it up. It's a more difficult and illogical method of trying to eat your rice. So what you normally do is you bring the bowl up to your mouth, and you have to bring the bowl to meet your mouth, not the other way. That's very polite. And you would basically tilt the bowl, scoop the rice into your mouth, and it's acceptable to do 2 or 3 scoops, depending on how polite you would like to be. Now, when I was a child, you must have expected, man, it's very hard to teach a little kid how to use chopsticks because they're this tall and they're not all that coordinated yet. But my grandfather insisted I knew how to use chopsticks in order to connect to my Chinese culture, even though I was like yay high and like 4 years old and still put my finger in my mouth like that. So he decided to make me a custom pair of chopsticks about this tall, perfect size for a little toddler. And being the little toddler I was not all that coordinated with my hands, so I could not really open or close the chopstick with ease. The only thing I could do was scoop rice into my mouth. My grandfather thought that was acceptable, saying that you are a good child. Okay, now some of the superstitions that go along with chopsticks that mothers tell their children in order to make sure that they use their chopsticks correctly. These superstitions include the way you hold the chopsticks. You cannot hold your chopsticks too high, like this, or too low, like this. If you hold it too low, your spouse will be a very, very, very short one. And no, you really don't want a super short spouse in Chinese culture. Also, if you hold it too tall, you will be looking up at them like this. That's also not wanted. So in order to get your spouse a perfect height, you need to hold it right perfect in the middle. Well, a little over the middle, but like this. Another superstition includes you cannot stick your chopsticks in your rice like this. It is believed that if you stick your chopsticks in your rice like this, you have a dead ancestor holding your chopsticks. No, you don't want a dead ancestor holding your chopstick. Another one which I find is actually very funny is you need to clean your bowl at the end of a meal. Because if you don't clean your bowl, the amount of rice left in your bowl will reflect the amount of pox on your spouse's face. And I assume that as in Chinese culture you want a clear-faced spouse. Some of the do-nots when using chopsticks. These do-nots include never cross your chopsticks. This is viewed as a beginner's mistake and you are thought to be a very uneducated person. Another do-not is don't hit the chopsticks on your bowl. In ancient China, only the impoverished and very poor people did that, so that would reflect upon your social status and class. Another one is, going back to my superstitions, don't stick your chopsticks in your rice because it's besides your ancestors holding your chopsticks. It's very impolite. And you never nibble on, suck on, lick, or pick your teeth with your chopsticks. That's very impolite, and if you really need to pick your teeth, you need to use the toothpick. And the last and final, do not. Never fight with the chopsticks like this. And never, no matter how tempting it is, hit your sister with them. Okay? They are food utensils. You never hit people with your food utensils. Now that you know this, I am pretty sure any of you can go out to a Chinese restaurant and eat and blend with the surrounding environment. Thank you.